Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to episode Fuck Knows What on Growers Not Showers with myself and Mr. Archer. Um,
Oh
how was your
yeah.
weekend been?
Oh, nothing eventful, bruv. Had to lie down. It's good. We had the first prep client of the academy. It's just mad it's taken this long to get a prep client. Danju, shout out. Dan does listen. Poor fucker. Yeah, really, really good. Just to give a rundown of how everything went. We started off as a diet. I had him for a couple of months of growing, not much. He came to me in pretty bad shape, wanted to keep on pushing up. We did, and then we're like, this is just stupid. Pulled down to a diet. Diet became a mini cut. Mini cut became a prep. We lost 33 kilo. So it's like 60 something pounds. Is that fucking 70 pounds? Who knows? That's a bag of it. 72 pounds, yeah, 70-pound prep. Come on. So huge prep, very cool. And then we went to PCA Wolverhampton. I forget what number 3 or 4 or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And he was in the juniors. He's 21, so still 2 more years of this, which is very, very cool. He got a top 5. He was the only first timer on stage. And judges' feedback was literally just muscularity. They said back and legs were good. They said stage confidence was good. And I'm very happy with the peaking as well. And obviously the judges seem to not mention anything about the peaking. So as far as we know, it's pretty good as well. But very, very happy. Routine went down well. Lower body conditioning, he really held his own, which is fantastic for a first timer. I'm very happy with the condition he got into. And it's literally just going to be a game of grow for 2 years, get into the same condition, carry more muscle mass and place better. And obviously because he was top 5, well, not that just because you're top 5 you get it, but they decided that they basically place people and then they decide based on the placings who's going to go on to do what. And they said it was like top 3 something, top 4 something, and then top 5 was an invite to the universe, which is really fucking cool. So invite to the universe, which me and Dan were very happy with, because it's literally the judges saying, hey, you in 5th, you should keep competing, which is always good feedback. And yeah, so now we're into a growth phase, upper focus. Well, I say a growth phase, it's gonna be a health phase first, Jesus. Dan is not to mention that. Yeah, it's going to be a fairly aggressive gain off the back. We pulled volume right down. It's like pretty basic. It's like 1 set per compound, 2 for isolations, because we don't want rhabdo. Fats are stupid high. Food's at like almost 5k, which is probably not going to be enough. Cardio's down to like 100 BPM after each session, 10 minutes. Steps down to 8k. And yeah, just like get some fucking fat on. And then once we're at a point we've gained about 10-15% of total mass, then we'll start to creep body weight up. And yeah, that's when the off season begins. That'll be an upper body focus pretty much. So yeah, very cool.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, a natural client has to do a health phase, because I feel like most of the people would be under the impression that you only need to do a health phase when you're enhanced, and that's just simply not the case.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding, especially stepping on stage, is inherently unhealthy. Very, 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 very stressful on your body. To get to that level of body fat percentage where you have striations in your fucking glutes, if you were to drop another 2% body fat, you could probably die. I mean, obviously, you start getting the symptoms of hypo, like going hypoglycemic. If you get a really bad hypo, you could also die. Something that I wasn't aware about before I had my first hypo. And Jack's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, like you could die from this." I'm like, "What?" But yeah, it is ridiculously unhealthy. On top of the fact that your testosterone baselines, you go hypogonadal, but when you go through prep. So as a natty client, like your test hits 0, you cannot get boners, you have no motivation, no drive, etc., etc. And it takes a significant amount of time, 6 to 12 months, even sometimes with most clients, in order to get your testosterone back to what it was before. I mean, we did my prep, and I didn't get like ridiculously peeled like Dan did. I got to maybe sub 10, but nowhere near Dan's level of conditioning. And then we did my blood work, like 12 weeks after my photo shoot prep. And my test was like 380. And the last time I did my blood work, my test was like 700. So that's 12 weeks of Christmas, fucking whatever the fuck I was eating, because I was eating like an absolute pig post prep, and my testosterone had only creeped up to what, a third of what it was before. So it just comes to show like the importance and obviously the relation between testosterone and, you know, properties of muscle building, but also just day to day how you feel. You know, the variance between like how you operate on what levels of testosterone is completely person dependent. I know people who can operate completely fine on 300 nanograms of testosterone. I know people who, you know, on 700, 800 nanograms, I'd be like, brother, I have fucking low test. I feel like shit. It is completely person dependent. But I do think, as a general basis, you should get your test levels to at least close enough, within like 10 to 20% of what they were before, in order to facilitate a good fucking gaining phase. You don't want to be on lower test than you were on the previous gaining phase, because that might actually be a limiting factor if you're natural.
Yeah, mate, exactly that. Like, we know even from like studies with like bodybuilders post show, natural or even assisted, the first, you know, however much of gain from going from like stage lean to like acceptable lean, you gain basically zero muscle mass. You gaining just pure fat mass, because your body's just not in position to be partitioning. You can be so lean that you're just not building tissue. And so, you know, basically the idea is like, people have this old idea of like, oh, you know, slowly reverse up, and that's not what you want to do when you're in like actual shoot stage condition, because you're just not going to gain anything. You're just going to very slowly gain fat, feel shitter for longer, you're wasting time. You need to quite quickly get back up, not overnight, but over the course of weeks, as safely as you can, but as quickly as you can, get back up to a stage where you start to feel a bit more human. Then from there, start to kind of push up and actually grow. But yeah, this is the thing. I think people get tricked by the fact that performance goes up because you tend to recover a bit better. You just feel a bit better. Maybe you recover lost performance. People think they're growing fantastically, or they get a bit fuller, they look a little bit bigger. You know, that's just not necessarily going to be the case. That it's muscle tissue. It's 9 times out of 10 not. But again, once you get to like regular amounts of leanness, that's where we start to see that, okay, things are starting to get a bit more ideal for us. But yeah, a health phase is always needed. We don't want to completely pull out everything and just slam you full of food, but there needs to be a bit of a balance.
Are you getting him to do his blood work, out of curiosity?
Not currently. There's not really much point. Because it's just going to come back as fucked. Like, after the health phase, or when we think the health phase is concluded, yes. Because if we turn around and say, okay, we're healthy, we're going to start growing, you want to double check. But again, I feel like running blood work peak prep just doesn't, it very rarely feels like a good idea to me. Let me walk you by, like, it's just going to be shit. It's just going to be skewed negatively because you're just fucking lean. Like, you'll look at it and be like, oh yeah, I'm too lean. Okay. Like, you might as well look at it when you're at a point where you're like, I don't think I'm too lean anymore. I think I'm probably going to be in a good spot. Then it's good to double check it. If you're assisted, if you've been using anabolics, then you know that, hey, it's probably smart to run a health phase after. But equally, again, if you've used anabolics, there's still that period of, we need to get you back to healthy before we then push in drugs. And that's when it makes sense to take drugs, take bloods. I think the only time where you may purposefully run bloods when you think they're going to be negative is if you've got like an enhanced bodybuilder at peak androgen dose, where you're like, okay, this is going to be damaging, but like, to what extent? So you know how long you can run it. Like, if you've got peak dose and your bloods are fucked, you'd be like, okay, we need to be careful here. But if you run peak dose and bloods are not too bad, you might be like, okay, we can maybe squeeze it a bit longer here. Or it gives you an idea of the health phase after. But, you know, I feel like it's so pointless when you're stage name. Like, it's just going to tell you you're fucked, and you'll be like, yep. And I know that people talk about, oh, what about underlying health conditions? Again, because everything is just so skewed so negatively, it just doesn't give us that much useful information, I would argue. Get a couple of weeks post-prep, recover a little bit, then look at yourself. If you feel like, okay, I'm in a good spot, double check it. That's where it makes sense. But yeah, doing it like after you've just come off stage, like, yeah, man, of course they're going to be fucked. You're not healthy. You shouldn't need bloods to know that, but yeah.
Nice. Okay. Oh yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, I'm from my like experience, obviously joined the academy only 3-ish. What month is it? May. Oh fuck yeah, it's been 5 months now. Yeah.
Yeah,
5 months in the academy as a coach to now having our first prep client, it is so cool. And I've been exchanging some words with Dan over the weekend as well, and just like seeing him compete. I wish I could have came, to be honest. Um, but yeah, seeing him compete was just like it just sparked a fire in me. I was like, yeah, let's get the boys up there. Let's get, I'm now looking forward to my show next year. When I finish uni and I move out properly, move back in with my parents, that's when I'm really gonna have a good look. Be like, okay, no, I want this show. This is
yeah,
gonna be the time frame. But I'm just trying to plan it out, like how I want to maneuver it, because I don't know if I want to do a prep living with my parents. I don't know if I can put them through that. Um, Especially because my parents haven't been the most supportive of
yeah,
in terms of bodybuilding. Not so because they don't care about me doing well, and obviously they understand how much I love it. It's more so that they know how much it has a toll on my health, my free time, my well-being, everything. They also think I'm violently addicted to it, which I am in a sense. I mean, it is a sport and it is a hobby, and it also is my job. But yeah, I don't know how that whole situation would pan out. Walking around like making breakfast with straight glutes. Mom's like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" Like, you're like an alien. Um, but yeah, definitely interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff.
I think
Um,
environment's one of those things that is so key to a good prep. And I think to anyone who's thinking of competing, the best piece of advice I can give is kind of just the next time you run a diet, if you're thinking of competing, just keep running the diet until it doesn't make sense to run it anymore. And if you end up on stage, you end up on stage. Like I think a lot of people, particularly for their first time, put a lot of pressure of when they're going to do it. And like I get it. People are, if I want to go for juniors, I want to max out juniors for my age cap or whatever. Like the first prep is gonna be a bit of an experience. And I think people underestimate the importance of, yeah, but I want to do it now. And I think even if you're like 20 and you're competing against 23-year-olds, if you're 20 and you really want to do it and you really want to be on stage and you really want to prep and you're loving it, you're going to be a lot more potent than if you're a 23-year-old who dragged yourself up onto stage. You're just going to get the best results when you're most into it. And I think unless you're being really strategic, which usually comes after a first prep, like after you've prepped for your first time, that's when you might be like, okay, I'm going for this show because it leads to finals, and that leads to pros, and then that leads to whatever the fuck, right? But for a first prep, I think sometimes just embrace it for what it is, fun, and go for it. And like, once you've had that taste of what it's like, it does make it a lot easier. But kind of almost, yeah, I think people are scared to like let the prep come to them. It's good to have an idea of like what you want to do, but like if you're with your parents and you're dieting down and things are good, just keep fucking going. If one day we have a week where we're like, okay, we're getting sticky now, we're like, all right, give it another week. Okay, yeah, we're getting really sticky now. I'm like, yeah, pull it, that's fine. But if you're doing the prep and you're like, I film in, oh shit, I'm 8 weeks out. Oh, I just found it. Like when you're that close.
yeah,
And I think that's I think that's kind of the stage where I'm at with prep is like, if I'm in a diet phase and the diet goes really well, I'll just turn into a prep and just do it until until it's done. I think that's the thing, is like, because you see people on Instagram like going for pro cards and like being really strategic with their prep, but not going to go for this show on this date. It's like, if you've never prepped before, you just don't know if you don't quite know what you're getting yourself in for. You don't know if your environment's going to be there. You don't know if you're going to be there. Whereas when you've prepped before and you've been on stage, you're always to an extent going to have an advantage because you kind of know what you're getting yourself in for, and it's easier to like switch back into that. Kind of the same thing for like if anyone's just generally dieted pretty hard, just getting practice at that makes it a lot easier. Like I remember when I first got into like fairly aggressive diets and mini cuts, I would have to I would take them very, very seriously. Like I'd have to fucking get myself properly ready to do them. And like I'd start getting into them at like uni, and I'd have to like really make sure I time them correctly, and I'd tell people that, oh, I'm dieting, or it's really serious, whatever. But like now I can just kind of just be like, oh, fuck it, mini cut, go for it, like, you know. And that's the thing, you the more that you do this, the better you just kind of generally get, and the more you can just like blast your way through, because once you've tasted a little bit of what it's like, then you're, you know, fucking chilling. But yeah, mate.
I think that's like one of the biggest skills you develop as a bodybuilder is the ability to just go from one phase to another without any like psychological or physical stress. It's like, you gotta understand, you know, I used to put so much emphasis on every single phase that I was in. Like, even this phase, to be fair, I've been on my Instagram going like, this is not a bulk, this is the bulk. Obviously, because it's my first exposure to androgens, but I digress. You don't want to put too much emphasis on every single phase, because there will be another one. The exact same thing you said to me when I was deep in the hole. You were like, come on, you're gonna prep again. You're gonna prep for the next fucking decade. There will be another prep. Don't try to make everything perfect. You want to be as fluid as possible going through every single phase, and know that every single phase doesn't last. In the same way in life, you know, you go through hardships and you go through good times. No phase lasts. You kind of learn to be, I think stoic is the word, like not emotionless, but you learn to just kind of accept the fact that it goes through ups and downs, it goes through waves. You know, one day you might be fat, another day you might be fucking dick skin shredded with striated glutes. That's just the way bodybuilding is, right? So being able to just go from one phase to another and just cut out all emotion and just crack on with it, because every single phase has its pros and cons. You know, I can list about 1,000 things that I hate about bulking because I'm bulking right now, but I can also list 1,000 things that I hate about cutting, and I'm not cutting right now, and I want to cut. But I know when it does come, and when I go into prep, I'll be like, oh, right, yeah, this is what prep feels like. Oh, right, yeah, my third shit session of the week, and it's Wednesday. Ah, yes, prep. Like, but yeah, you have to learn to just accept whatever phase you're in and just crack on with it. Like, being a bodybuilder, I know we say this, I feel like we repeat ourselves every single fucking episode, but like, being a bodybuilder is very much ignoring what your mind is telling you and just fucking crack on with it. Literally, like, the amount of times we have to experience body dysmorphia. Oh no, my left lateral deltoid is smaller than my right lateral deltoid in this pose. Like, stuff like that. Like, body dysmorphia, you know, food wise, you might develop some you know, intolerances of food, or like what's the word? Fuck. Food diseases. What am I thinking of?
Metabolic disease?
No. Like anorexia and stuff. What's that called, bro? Fuck.
Relationship with food.
Relationship with food. There we go. It's like your relationship with food will change. You know, your body dysmorphia, how you perceive yourself will change. All of these things, you're constantly changing, and therefore your mind is changing as well. So you just kind of have to accept it. You just go with the flow. Don't think about everything too much. And again, this goes back to the point of, why the fuck do we need a coach to tell you what to do, so you don't have to think about it? Because the more you think about it, the more you're susceptible to going into these avenues of, you know, feeling shit about yourself, or being worried like, oh no, I bumped up carbs by 30 this week and I haven't gained any weight. Mate, fucking let your coach do all that.
Yeah, man, 100%. I think fucking Mr. Train with Intent, Ryan, I don't know his surname, to be fair, has a great saying about this. Ryan, absolutely, I fucking love this guy's mindset. Like, Ryan Turner, that's it. Sorry, Ryan. Definitely just look him up on Instagram. Right, the shit that Ryan says about bodybuilding, like just generally his mindset and his advice around mindset, is just some of the most beautiful shit I've ever heard in my life. He put something out, and I'm going to kind of butcher it, but it was something along the lines of like, discomfort is the goal. And like, oh man, I fucking love that. Like, the point, or he basically was talking to me, he's like, the point of bodybuilding is just discomfort. Like, that's it. It's just that. Like, you're either pushing food or you're really, really barely eating anything. Either way, training is training. Maybe you've got cardio. Everything's uncomfortable. Everything's a constant, can I do more? Can I do more? Can I beat it? And like, he's like, people get scared of that, but that is the point. Like, you forget that the work is the point. It's not the outcome. Fuck that. It's the work. So like, whenever he's like, oh, this is hard, he'll be like, cool, that's the point. Good. I'm glad it's hard. This is the point. And like, that honestly, just, I fucking love that. Like, when I'm on the Stairmaster and I'm dripping with sweat and I'm dying and I'm like literally like fucking thinking, like, food focus elevated, and I'm like thirsty as fuck, and I'm I'm like, I'm dying. How the fuck am I going to get through today? I wake up absolutely shattered. Or you walk into the gym, you don't want to be there. You're like, fucking, how am I going to progress this? I'm like, this is the point. This right now, this how I feel is the point. Like the shit sessions, the fucking brutal cardio, the feeling rundown. This is the point. It is to get through this. And like when you flip that mindset and focus on just chasing discomfort and chasing difficulty, it just makes the whole process so much more fun. Because instead of being like a victim to something that you're choosing to do, you're just like you embrace it with open arms and just be like, yeah, this is sick, fucking great. Like I feel trashed, brilliant. That's the point. Good. Like this is how I should be feeling. And honestly, yeah, fucking, I love Ryan. Ryan, if you're listening, you're not. Fucking love your mindset. Incredible.
He's a big boy, isn't it? He's actually fucking large. Does he compete classic?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Of course he does.
Yeah, classic is the UK classic scene right now is fucking bonkers. It's actually so fucking sad. Not even just classic. I think UK bodybuilding currently, I think it's the best it's been in the past like 10, 20 years, probably since Dorian. If I'm gonna be completely honest.
It's definitely getting up there, which is really cool. For some, I don't know, it's crazy to me that the UK has it feels weird to be like the country that I was just happened to be born in, that has the sport that I really care about, is like also one of the best at it and one of the most into it. But I'm glad it's that way. But yeah, UK bodybuilding definitely is like very, very, very up there. And I think a lot of people are paying attention to the UK. I mean, fucking in the show I was at Sunday, PCA, like a random PCA show, a bunch of people from fucking Europe, from all over, people like couldn't even speak English, like coming over. Yeah, man, crazy. Like it's so fucking cool to see just how influential the scene is, which is really, really nice. And I think it's like it's aspiring. I see a lot of people be like, oh, you know, fucking the coach moves to Dubai or whatever. Nah, bro, I'm not moving away from bodybuilding. Like that. Like,
that's what. Yeah, that's the exact same thing when I was talking about, because originally like 2 years ago I was like, oh, I want to move to Australia, and then kind of ever since I joined the academy, I was like, well, what is like my biggest passion? Is it to live in Australia, or is it to be a bodybuilder? Oh, it's to be a bodybuilder. Where do I feel like I am the most supported, or not necessarily support, but where do I feel like the biggest community for bodybuilding is right now in the UK personally? Obviously, because I'm from the UK as well, but you know, I know so many people who bodybuild. I have a lot of people who I look up to who are bodybuilders in the UK. Even though, you know, I might make a bit less money or the weather's a bit shit, it's still the UK. And in terms purely from a sport perspective, in terms of bodybuilding, that's where I want to be at. But I recently watched a film. What was it called? Magazine Dreams. It's a film with what's his name? Jonathan Majors. Have you seen it?
Nah, man, can't say I have.
No, so it's basically about this guy called Julius Maddox, Julius Maddox, who's coming up as a bodybuilder, and they're kind of depicting what bodybuilding is like and the darker side of bodybuilding. And I was watching it last night, and I was thinking, fuck, like this is what people are depicting us as. He's basically a guy who's got raging ADHD. All he does is he trains, he takes cocaine before he trains, and then he pins after training. He goes home and he wanks and he competes. That's what he did literally the entire fucking the entire film. And I was thinking, I was like, this film came out like 2 months ago, right? People are going to the cinema to watch this, and this is their depiction of bodybuilding. And it was a little bit sad because I was like, not all of us are like this, bearing in mind. Like, this is how bodybuilding is getting depicted to the masses, the average individual. And this is why bodybuilding has such a bad reputation. And like any time I speak to a normal person, and when I say normal, I mean someone who doesn't bodybuild, they always have these fucking stigmas. They're like, oh, you must take so much steroids, or you have roid rage, or you beat your meat every day, like weird things, right? And they're just like, they put you into a category and they're like, yeah, you're a bodybuilder, you have to be this. And it's just not the case. Like the same way, right, you have doctors, like doctors are a profession, bodybuilding is a sport, a bit different. But you have doctors, and you have shit doctors, you have bad doctors, you have doctors who, I don't know, are really wham, you have doctors who are skinny, like you have variants. Like it's not like, oh, you're a doctor, so you're gonna be this. It's just, you can't categorize someone by something that they do, because you simply don't know enough about them to put them in that category.
Yeah, I think bodybuilding gets a bad rap generally because of, well, really enhanced bodybuilding. You know, I think it's really, really nice and reassuring to see people doing natural bodybuilding, kind of taking it to like new heights. I think it's good that both are getting respect, and like it's viewed as a completely or more valid way of doing things. Like whenever I see kind of like very talented natural athletes, I'm like, it's nice to see some people stay natural. Everyone's gonna, and that's fine. I don't care. But like, I think natural bodybuilding used to just be a stepping stone, and it's nice to see it not necessarily just be a stepping stone, because it does just do better for the sport. Like it just brings more people in, because it's more accessible and arguably healthier, and etc. etc. So yeah, it's nice, and I like the I don't know. Bodybuilding is weird because I don't think it's ever going to be mainstream. It's cool to see it bring people in, but I think the barrier to entry is just so fucking high, and it's just so it really chews people up and spits them out, that I think it's never going to be fully mainstream or really accepted because it's just so extreme. But I think that's kind of part of the fun. Like as much as I want to see bodybuilding grow, it is kind of fun being on the fringe of something.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway,
I wouldn't. Sorry,
yeah, go on. No, go on.
Yeah, I would never want to see bodybuilding become a mainstream sport. I like the fact that it's niche. And the reason being is because I think most bodybuilders are autistic. I think that part of that film was correct. I do think a lot of us are autistic in a sense. And it's something that you actually said to me. You have to be a little bit, or have a little bit of autism to lock yourself in a box, eat the same shit every day, lift the same fucking lifts, just a little bit heavier, eat a little bit more food, and then cut down and starve yourself so you can see striated glutes. Like you have to. It is a niche sport, and it's why it's not as well respected among the gen pop, because it is weird in the sense, like with football players, you go to football training, you go home, you chill, and then you play the game on Saturday, and then you go home, you have physio, you chill. With bodybuilding, it's 24/7. Like you have to. It's, you know, are you hitting your meals on time? Are you eating the same shit? Are you training? Are you making sure you're recovering properly? You know, physio, whatever, to make sure you don't get injured. You know, sleeping properly, etc., etc. It is a 24/7 commitment, and most people don't actually understand how difficult that is, and how much discipline you actually need to practice on a day-to-day basis to take this sport and even be competitive at the pro level, let alone actually win something. Just to call yourself a pro bodybuilder, you have to put arguably half a decade to a decade worth of work 24/7 in order to even qualify to be a pro. You know, and like people, you know, they're afraid to say that because it's the whole concept of delayed gratification. Like it takes so long before you even have a chance of becoming a bodybuilder. I mean, for both of us, we haven't even stepped on stage yet. And how long have you been training?
7 years or so.
7 years, exactly. I'm coming up to 5. Well, I'm at 5 now, 5 years, and I'm still not stepping on stage for another year. That's 6 fucking years I've had to put into the gym, training 5 days a week, making sure I'm getting my meals, going through multiple phases of cutting, bulking, multiple different phases of prioritizing different muscle groups, just to step on stage and have a chance of winning a show. It doesn't even guarantee that I'm going to win it, just to have a chance of winning it. And like, I don't know, like you have different sports, you might have prodigies where like within 2 years they're already competing at such a high level. Like you might have amateur boxing where they've already had 6 fights and they've already been scouted by someone. They're like, yeah, this kid is it. They're like 12 and they're like, oh my god, yeah, they're going to make it already 2 years into the sport. With bodybuilding, you don't really have that. You have to put in such a large amount of time before you even could get recognized. And there's a whole thing about genetics, right? Like, I don't know, if you, for example, like if you play piano, right? Within like the first 3 fucking months of playing piano, you could kind of tell, like, okay, no, he's going to be a fantastic pianist. He can read the notes really well. He's got, his brain is just made for fucking playing piano, whatever. Like, you can tell he's going to be a genius, right? With bodybuilding, it's not really like that. People say, like, oh, yeah, no, you can tell if you've got great genetics from the get-go, but you can't. You fucking can't. I'm generally a believer of you know, you have to put at least like 2 years like of consistently training, nutrition is on point in the gym to actually have a look at your physique and be like, okay, I have good genetics for bodybuilding or I don't. And even still, you know, like people categorize genetics into attachments, you know, insertions, bone structure, etc., but they don't factor into the fact like, are you able to stick to your fucking to your routine? Are you able to actually commit to this for a long enough amount of time? Do you have the ability to put on muscle? If you're going enhanced, how is your response to anabolics? Are you able to handle the side effects? / do you have a shit ton of sides? Because you could be a fantastic bodybuilder structurally. You could have the best fucking insertions. You could look amazing naturally, but you hop on and you can't handle the drugs. Then what? Do you know what I mean? And like, it's not you. People put so much emphasis on genetics, but I don't think it's actually as important as people say. I feel like you can, if you simply outwork everyone, you have such a good chance of, you know, making it there. You just have to do it for long enough.
Yeah, definitely. We have got a couple of questions. I think I might be right now as well. We'll see. So we've got, what's the biggest struggle you've had in bodybuilding?
Oh, do you want to go first or should I?
You go first, mate.
Probably my scoliosis for sure. So like body self-image, like perception is just like, it's definitely something that I've got better at handling. But fuck it, when I was growing up, like for some reason I just had this like, especially because I have a background in osteopathy and my eyes trained to look for things like this. Like every time I would turn from the back, I'd be like, oh my God, my back is bent. I can't pose properly. This lat isn't going to fucking hang as well as this one. And, you know, fucking all this, like catastrophizing completely. And like, it put me in some fucking holes that I did not need to be in. Like, oh, I'd be such a fucking great bodybuilder if my back wasn't bent. Like, nah, it's fucking bullshit. But yeah. What about you?
I think probably dealing with obsession, getting really caught up into it to the point of obsessing over things and focusing on kind of just kind of trying to do too much stuff. I think getting ahead of myself as well, like in the past, trying to speed up the process as much as possible in a gain, in a cut, whatever. And yeah, just fuck me, I am going hypo. It is, wow, I'm slowing down. It is, yeah, I think just obsessing and just like not being able to kind of switch off from it. Like even when everything for the day is done, still being like bodybuilding to a detriment. We've got thoughts on commercial gyms holding people back from tiers of progress.
Oh, this is a lovely question, and I know what Luke likes to preach about on his story.
Bear with me,
the little hobbit.
Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna like nip downstairs and like get some core or something. Back in a sec.
Bless him. Oh, the joys of going hypo, eh?
Mate, keep the pod going. I'll be back in a sec. We'll be fine. We'll leave it.
Okay. Well, I might as well just keep talking then. So yeah, what was the question? Fuck. Oh no. Am I going hypo? No, I'm deep in a gaming phase. Fuck, what was the question? Oh yeah, right. Commercial gyms and holding you back. Okay. So in terms of whether I think a commercial gym holds back your gains, yes, it does, but not for the reason that you think it is. And the answer to that is, you know, okay, yeah, a bodybuilding gym might have better machines, cool, but I don't think it's about the machines. I simply think it's about the environment. I need to be surrounded by people who are doing the same thing as me, that are chasing the same goals as me. If I go to a fucking commercial gym and I see fucking 26-year-old Jonathan training like a little bitch, it's not going to motivate me. I need to be surrounded by fucking gorillas that are moving weight and that are growing every single time I see them in the fucking gym. You are a product of your environment. The machines matter. Yes, you can get, I don't know, 2-3% extra gains out of a converging prime press than a fucking shitty unbranded fucking machine press at a poor gym or pure gym, sorry. But that isn't the main reason that I go to the volleyball gym. It's simply because of the fucking environment and the people that I surround myself with. I know everyone at my gym now, pretty much. And every time I go in there, they're like, oh yeah, so nice to see you. I'm ready to spot you whenever you need. Like, have a fantastic session. And they see me getting at it and they smile. The same way I'll see them getting at it. I'll see a really wham bloke fucking pressing the 60s with really good form. And I'm like, oh mate, that's fucking sick. He's wham. I bet his chest is wham. I want to do that. You need to surround yourself in an environment where it facilitates growth. You need to have an open mind, and being in a bodybuilding gym allows that. When I go to Pure Gym or JD Gym or all of these gyms, I feel almost self-conscious in the sense that I feel like people are staring at me and being like, oh, what's this dickhead doing? Oh, he thinks he's sick because he's grunting, or fucking, why is he walking around and belling with a tripod? And like, I hate feeling like that. I don't want to feel like people have their eyes on me when I'm training. I just want to put my hoodie up, fucking train like a mad cunt, and be left alone to do what I want to do. But yes.
Right. An apple has saved me. Got another one on standby. I'm 14 weeks out and I'm carbless. I dropped a pound overnight, so I'm willing to trade off. If I wasn't on the pod, I probably would just go hyper. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to allow it. If I was closer, then fucking, I'd have to firm it. Anywho, wow, I feel so much better. Holy shit. That's what I get for legs and, yeah, okay, I'm rough. Legs and, brother, just painful. Legs and stairs. Got cool after this as well. That's going to be fun.
Love bodybuilding, man.
So, yeah, this is something that I've changed my mind on. So I used to say no. I used to say, like, you can, it doesn't matter where you train. But my answer has changed. Now, it's one of those questions of, like, if you've got a better gym, but it's a further drive and it's more expensive and that's stressful, and, you know, the current gym, you can still train and progress in, then yeah, like, just stick with where you're at. But having trained like at a pure gym recently, I don't have enough plates and I stack the machines and I can't use a gym pin. So I physically can't train certain movements. I'm really limited on exercise selection. And that's the issue, is I could, like, a lot of those lifts that I'm left with could, you know, cause me joint discomfort or issue. And that's the thing, is there's just a cap on how strong you can get. Whereas if you've got like kit that you're like, I'm currently trying to chase kit in Norton's, like, I'm weak as fuck on. So like, I was trying to find an adductor, because obviously Norton also don't allow gym pins, which is great. Thanks, guys. I was trying to find the hardest adductor, because I was like, right, what's going to give me the most runway? And like, the fact that they've got 4 or 5 is like, you know, clearly that's a sign that like I can make more runway at that gym than at pure gym, where there is no adductor. But even if there fucking was, I'd probably be stacking it, right? Or the fucking leisure center near where you and I used to come from. You know the one I mean. We won't say it because it's a bit too bait. But that adductor there is so easy to stack. I've got clients who train there and they stack it all the time, and it's like people who just kind of generally go to the gym.
Yeah, Will Bosworth gym pins it.
Yeah, man,
I was 20 kilos on.
I definitely don't know that he gym pins it because I allow it. But the thing is, as well, is I was actually talking to my client Andy about this, and it's something I noticed with myself early on in training. It's something I see all the time, is the limit of your gym kind of defines where you train. So for example, Andy lives in an apartment block. There's a home gym there and they have dumbbells up to 22s. He is on like the 20s for like his dumbbell press. And I was looking at it and I was like, you are way above 20, way above. But subconsciously, because he's, you know, doesn't think of himself as a huge gym goer, he's thinking like, oh yeah, the 20s feel okay, but the 22s are the heaviest weight in the gym and there's no way I'm going to lift those. Whereas if you step into like Norton and you see it goes up to 80, suddenly jumping from 20 to 22 or even 25 is just far more fine. I remember when I first started like training in my bedroom, the dumbbells I used to lift, and I remember being like 10 kilos is so heavy, bro. And then because that was like the most my dumbbells could do. It was like a 3 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo. So of course, like, you don't lift the 10 kilos. That's like barely anything you move 10 kilos on. And then I stepped into that leisure center I told you about, the one with the one that expanded, and when it was smaller. And you see, I remember their dumbbells up to, I think it was 50, it might have been 40. And it's like you see up to 50, and I was like, 50 kilos? Shit. And like within a week, my lifts had like near doubled, because when you see that you're like, the dumbbells you use are the little ones on the rack, just mentally you're far more likely to be like, well, yeah, of course I can fucking lift them. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I didn't believe you could bench 3 plates. This sounds so stupid, but like, I didn't really believe I could bench 3 plates until I saw someone at my uni bench 3 plates. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's impressive, but it's not impossible. Whereas when you're the one who's like forging ahead and lifting weights no one else has lifted, it's very easy to get caught up in it. Part of the reason why I felt comfortable dumbbell press in the 60s is because I knew Ryan Dolan had done it. And I was like, okay, it's doable. Like, yeah, Ryan's a lot bigger than me. Holy shit. I'm not going to claim to be Ryan Dolan. But like, it's doable. Whereas if you tell me that like no one in the gym has fucking lifted that, I'll be like, bro, if I'm not the main character, there's no way I'm lifting that. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to get caught up in that. So 100%, I think environment, but it's coming back. Seeing people lift those weights, that like seeing people lift those weights before you, and equally just like, you don't realize it, but the if you train at a gym where there's lighter weights, you just will lift lighter. Like my thought process is like, if you're an average person, you're probably going to lift like 25 to like 40% of like the maximum weight in the gym. And if the gym stops at 10 kilos, you're going to better lift anything, you know. There's definitely something to be said for that. But yeah,
Nice.
beautiful. I think we may have to wrap it up there because, well, I'm hypo and we're pushed for time. We'll do a part 2 to the Q&A, but hopefully everyone enjoyed. Do you want to wrap it up, mate?
Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. If you want to work with me, you can find me at Camille_Archer Academy on Instagram. If you want to work with Jack, I don't know why you want to do that. He's really fucking annoying, but you can find him at Jack_Archer Academy. He's also going hypo and will be going hypo for a while, so I want to work with him. If you want to buy some clothes, you can buy them on BuiltNotBorn. Use code Camille10 or Jack10. Is that code?
Archer10.
Archer10, yeah.
Yeah,
Use code Archer10 or Camille10. Probably use Camille10 actually, because I'm better. And yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.